Alright, in this video we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and basically all the charts that we need to look at involving those coins. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin to US dollar, total crypto market cap, the Ethereum chart, Ethereum to Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin dominance. Alright, let's jump into the technical analysis. Okay, let's start off with Bitcoin to US dollar. This is what we were looking at in my last video. We had support right here, support right here. I was watching this uptrend like this. We actually broke that uptrend going to the downside right here. And ever since then, I was watching this bottom, this price of around 33,664. But, so I have my limit order set right here. But it does look like we're getting support right here, and support right here. We do have this little trend line going like this. It is trending up. Right now, we are riding this uptrend, so I'm not really sure if we're going to be able to hit this or if we're going to come through and continue this uptrend. Right now, the other thing I'm watching is we have resistance right here and resistance right here. Let's go ahead and delete these lines right here. We're not really paying attention to those ones too much anymore. And we have this trend line, something like this. It looks like we're kind of forming this new triangle pattern, and this kind of gives me something to watch. If we break to the upside or to the downside, then we could get bullish or bearish. If we break to the upside, then I'll probably be looking at these previous resistance levels, maybe something like this. This one's sitting up here around 39,164. We also have this trend line from the daily time frame that we've been watching. If we zoom out a little bit, we have this daily if we jump to the daily time frame, you can see it a little better too. We have this trend line on the daily time frame, and this is that trend line if we go into the 4-hour. And if we break up, that can also give us some problems if we break to the upside, is basically what I'm trying to say. So I think this level right here at around maybe 39,200 approximately, this might be where we're going if we break to the upside. But if we break to the downside, then I'm still looking at this level down here. I still have my limit order set at 33,600 approximately. So yeah, I'm still thinking that we are going down because we haven't exactly broken this downtrend going to the upside yet. Until we do that, then I'm looking at the bottoms. The first bottom that we have is this one right here, like I just mentioned, 33,600 approximately, and then we have this one over here at around 30,000. Or if you want to get more in detail or zoom in more, you can see that we wicked down maybe to around 29,300 or maybe 29,500 approximately, depending on where you look at it. But we did wick down to around here and we haven't hit that bottom yet. So what I'm thinking is, if we kind of zoom out and get it back to normal, we have this downtrend like this. We have this downtrend right here, and until we break this downtrend going to the upside, I'm looking at that 30,000 level, or this bottom right here at around 33,600. As far as when I'm buying and selling, right now I have been dollar cost averaging a little bit in this area right here. I do have a limit order set right here and a limit order set right here as well though. I think once we break this trend line, if we could break this trend line going to the upside, then I'll be less confident on these targets or maybe this one. It just depends on what we do right now. We are trending technically up. We have support right here and support right here. Let's do this trend line as well because we're technically on this little trend line right here. Until we break this trend line going to the downside, then I guess we are kind of trending up. So I don't know. It just depends on the way you look at it. Like I said, I was watching this uptrend over here and we broke it going to the downside. So let's kind of see what happens. Like I said, I'll be watching this triangle pattern. Let's see if we break to the upside or the downside. If we break this bigger uptrend, then I'll be less confident on these limit orders, is basically what I'm trying to say. Let's jump into the Bitcoin dominance chart. Okay, so here is what we're looking at. Basically, if this chart is going down, it's an altcoin season. And if this chart is moving up, then Bitcoin is just basically in control and dominating all the other coins. So what I was looking at is this triangle pattern right here for a really long time. This goes back all the way to 2017. We had support right here, support right here. I was watching this uptrend. We got a break to the downside, and ever since right here to right here, we had this big, huge altcoin season. And what I was saying while we were going down is I was watching these previous bottoms. And as you can see over here, we got a bounce right there, bounce right there. We didn't exactly hit those orange lines on these two, but we actually did come down, hit that orange line right here, and then now we're getting a bounce. In general, what I'd been thinking is once we broke this trend line going to the downside, I was like playing around with the altcoins. And then I was thinking once we start hitting these orange lines, then I'm going to start getting back into Bitcoin. And right now we are starting to hit these orange lines. Well, we already started to hit them. Once we started hitting them back here, then I started getting more back into Bitcoin rather than the altcoins. And right here, it does look like we're getting that bounce. We're on the weekly time frame. Let's go ahead and jump into the daily time frame. This is another thing that I've been kind of watching. We had this little falling wedge pattern, something like this. We had resistance, 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 giving me this top trend line. I was waiting for a breakout to the upside or to the downside. We actually got a breakout to the upside. Now it looks like we're trending up. This is good for Bitcoin. In general, we could probably delete these lines over here and set up the uptrend that we're watching now. But like I said, we got a bounce on those orange lines. I've been watching those orange lines for a long time. I'm kind of curious if we're going to hold support right here and keep trending up. Let's draw this uptrend real quick though. This is one thing that I'm kind of watching. We're on the daily time frame right now, and until we break this uptrend going to the downside, I'm assuming that it's going to push. It's going to push up, and Bitcoin is going to be dominant until we maybe come into this trend line over here. As you can see, if we zoom out, we had resistance, resistance. We have this trend line pushing down like this. Let's go ahead and extend this trend line like this. So basically what I'm watching is this support. Let's see how far we can ride it going to the upside. Let's see if we could come up, hit this trend line, and or break through it. In general, if this chart is trending up, it's good for Bitcoin. If this chart is trending down, it's good for the altcoins. Okay, so speaking of alts, let's take a look at Ethereum, the king of the alts. Right now, we're on the 4-hour time frame, and this is the last thing that I was pretty much looking at. We had resistance right here, resistance right here. We had support, support. I was watching this uptrend like that. We broke it going to the downside, pretty much similar with Bitcoin. We broke this going to the downside, and ever since then, I was kind of thinking about the bottom down here at around maybe 22,030. Or if we zoom out a little bit, I've been also watching this bottom down here at around 1780. So I don't know. In general, if we zoom out, if we go to the daily time frame, we have these bigger downtrends just like Bitcoin, something like this. We have two of them. We have one right here and then one right here, in my opinion. Until we break these ones going to the upside, I'm looking at the bottoms somewhere down here around 1780, or these previous supports down here. We wicked all the way down to around, let's see, where do we wick down to right here? Somewhere around 2165. Okay, so I think the main thing that I'm watching on Ethereum, we broke this triangle pattern that we have right here going to the downside. So until we break this top over here, let's go ahead and delete this triangle because we pretty much broke it. But I'm basically watching this bottom down here. I'm watching this bottom down here. But if we could break this top over here, then I'll be changing my sentiment. So let's go ahead and do some horizontal lines. We have a horizontal line right here, and then we have another one right here. This one, the top is sitting around 2,607. The bottom is sitting around 2,235. I think we're kind of sitting in this range right now. Let's say we break this going to the upside, then we could get more confident on maybe this target up here, sitting around 2,885. Or if we break this one going to the downside, then we could get more confident on this target down here at around 1780. I think for me in general, until we break these downtrends going to the upside, then I'm thinking we're still pushing down, and I'm not really too confident on getting too bullish quite yet. There's one more thing that I wanted you guys to check out too, and then it's the 9 moving average. We have this 9 moving average right here, and we're on the daily time frame. Right now it does look like we're coming up to test it. The last time we came in to test it, we got rejected and we got kind of pushed down. So let's see if we could break above that. If we break above that, then that will be another signal that we can kind of look at. That will be pretty bullish actually. Usually when we break these 9 moving averages, we at least get a nice little pump. Sometimes it doesn't stay above it. But when we do stay above the 9 moving average, then we can get support on it as opposed to getting resistance on it. We've been getting kind of a little bit of resistance on it. We broke above it for a second right here, but then got rejected and came back down. So what I'm thinking is, I don't know, it just depends. What we do have to do is stay above it and keep getting support on it. I mean, we probably want to go to a bigger time frame because it's been going in and out of this 9 moving average. We're on the daily time frame, so let's jump into the weekly time frame. You can see that we're clearly below the 9 moving average. We have it going in something like this. What we really want to do, or what we're really waiting for, is to break above the 9 moving average on the weekly. And check it out, the 180 is all the way down here. I'm not sure how far it's going to go. That's why I'm really looking at this level down here at around 1780. All right, so let's take a look at Ethereum compared to Bitcoin. If this chart is trending up, it's good for Ethereum. If this chart is trending down, it's good for Bitcoin. And right now we are trending down. We have resistance, resistance until we break this downtrend going to the upside. Then it's looking pretty good for Bitcoin. And we also have this resistance, resistance. We're trending down like this. This is the last one that I was watching. We did kind of break this trend line going up, but it doesn't look like we're able to keep that momentum pushing to the upside. It does look like we're kind of getting rejected again, and it does look like we're kind of having to readjust, maybe do something like this. I don't know. In general, we are still trending down, but it does look like we're kind of getting a little bit of support in this area right here. Let's see if Ethereum can break this trend going to the upside. I like watching these trends because usually when we break them, it's a good sign that the other coin is going to start doing better. So like, let's say we start trending up, that's going to be good for Ethereum. But until then, it's looking pretty good for Bitcoin. And like I said, we also have this bigger downtrend like this. If we kind of zoom out though, let's go into the daily time frame and kind of get a look at the bigger picture, because for a while Ethereum has been doing really good compared to Bitcoin. Like if you bought Bitcoin in this area down here and then held it to over here, now you can buy Bitcoin for a lot cheaper for your Ethereum if you wanted to trade it. So yeah, in general, throughout this whole time period, Ethereum has been doing better than Bitcoin. I guess in general, what I'm thinking is, how long is this uptrend going to go for? We had support right here, and it does look like we're breaking this uptrend going to the downside right now. I'm on the weekly time frame, and it does look like it's trending down pretty good. So what I'm looking at are the previous support levels. Let's look at this level right here and this level right here, and maybe do a horizontal line at that bottom, maybe something like this. Let's see if we could get a bounce. Let's go ahead and change this. Let's go ahead and change this, do something like that. Okay, so maybe we could get a bounce on this line over here. But until then, until we break these other downtrends, like I was saying, let's go back to the daily time frame. We have a downtrend, something like this, and then we have another one on the smaller time frame. I don't know, maybe something like this as well. Once we start breaking these downtrends, then we can get more bullish on Ethereum. But until then, I'm kind of looking at these bottoms right here. And as long as we're trending down, I'm looking at Bitcoin over Ethereum, kind of, pretty much. Let's jump into the total crypto market cap. Okay, so this chart looks very similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is the last thing that I was watching. We had this little triangle pattern, something like this, very similar to Ethereum and Bitcoin. We broke that going to the downside. Ever since we broke that trend, I was looking at this bottom down here, or this previous yellow line, or this previous bottom at around 1.55. We could argue that we could drag this down a little bit more to maybe 1.51 trillion. So yeah, in general, I'm thinking that we're still pushing down since we broke this, but we also have this support, this support. Let's see how far this little trend line right here will last. I'm thinking it's going to break it to the downside, but I'm not 100% sure. I think the main thing that I'm watching until, let's zoom out and go to the daily time frame. Same thing with Bitcoin and Ethereum. We have this big, huge downtrend. Until we break that downtrend going to the upside, then I'm looking at the previous support levels, one right here and one right here. Like I said, that first one was sitting at around 1.55 trillion, and then this one down here is sitting around 1.192 trillion. I've also been talking about how it's possible we've kind of created this big old space right here that's kind of empty. I'm kind of wondering if we're going to do something like this and get some volatility. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bounce, then got rejected and started pushing down to right here. That's just my speculation, but it does look like we are just kind of chilling in this little area right here, kind of going sideways pretty much. Kind of like Ethereum, we have a top and a bottom. Let's go ahead and delete these lines because this will give us kind of more of an indication on what's happening. Right now, we're just going sideways, so let's do a horizontal box or a rectangle. So we have a top right here and then a bottom right here, and then we'll go ahead and stretch this out, something like this. I guess you could argue we can go do it to the wicks as well, and we have something like that. Once we break to the upside or to the downside, then we could get a little more confident on what's going on. But until then, I think we're kind of just bouncing sideways. So I don't know, let's see what happens. I'm looking at this support down here, this yellow line, and then this previous resistance over here, right here where we kind of traded, got a little bit of resistance. Plus we have this little resistance, this little wick right there. I don't know, I think we're trading sideways. Let me know what you guys think though. Like I said, the main thing I'm watching on this chart is this big downtrend we have right here. Until we break this downtrend going to the upside, I'm not really going to get bullish, or this is the main thing that I'm waiting for. Having said that, I am still trying to dollar cost average and accumulate Bitcoin on these lower levels that we are at right now. All right, so hopefully you guys are still here. Let me know what you guys thought of that video. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you guys think about my analysis in general. If you have any questions, check out my Discord. I'll leave a link in the comments. If you guys are new to trading, check out this video right here. It's another kind of tutorial on when I buy and when I sell crypto. All right, if you guys like the video, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.